Today is Tuesday, December 30th, and this is the Denver Sports Rundown. I am joined by, as you can all see here, Denver Sports 104.3, The Fan, Zach By. Zach, thank you for being here today. I appreciate you spending a couple minutes with us. I want to start off with what the whole sports world is talking about right now. Leading ESPN on their website, Sports Center. The biggest story in sports right now, Nikola Jokic goes down, grabbing his left knee last night. Didn't look good in the moment. Kind of got stepped on from his own teammate from behind there. And today we get the update from the Nuggets. Per the Nuggets, Nikola Jokic suffered a left knee hyperextension injury during last night's game at the Miami Heat. Nikola will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. So we did miss the disaster that could have been, a torn ACL, PCL, MCL, any of the above. So not the worst case scenario, but still looks like he's going to miss at least a month. How nervous were you in the moment? Are you feeling more relieved today? What's the feeling as far as what you're feeling, what Nuggets Nation should be feeling?
Well, thanks for having me on. Yeah, I mean, I believe it or not, in the moment, look, obviously I was concerned. There's inherent concern. Not only is he the greatest basketball player walking planet Earth, but for many years now, I have referred to him as the sun within the Nugget solar system. All other planets orbit around Nikola Jokic, and there is no life without the sun. And there would be no life with Nuggets life through the lens of a championship, even contention, without Nikola Jokic. So, of course, there was inherent concern. But I have to be honest, just the eye test, it did not strike me as if it was going to be like a devastating season-ending injury. It did not look like an extreme hyperextension, and also it was a very direct hit. There was no twisting of the knee, so it just went straight back, and it didn't even when it went back, it wasn't an extreme hyperextension. So even a couple minutes after the injury, I tweeted, "I think he's going to be fine." And ultimately, that's the news that we got today. The problem is trying to stay afloat during the time before he gets back, which I am going to actually assume 4 weeks. There's 18 games in the month of January, and we're going to talk about it on today's show, The Drive with Philip Lindsay. What should be the target record there? Because the context beyond the Jokic injury, of course, is that you're also missing Christian Brown. You're also missing Aaron Gordon. You're also missing Cam Johnson. This is not football. When you're missing 4 of 22 starters, you can still stay afloat. This is missing the quarterback. This is missing the offensive line, the defensive line. I mean, it's not good. And if those guys were all healthy, they could sort of serve as a life preserver to keep the Nuggets afloat until the big fella gets back. But that's not the case. Now, we will see some of those guys. I think the plan was some of those guys to return during this East Coast road trip. But, man, not good. Not good, to say the least, Dante.
Yeah, and you mentioned, it's not football where, if you're missing 4 out of 22 starters, obviously not ideal, but not the worst. In basketball, that equates to 80% of your starters there, particularly Nikola Jokic. You mentioned, he's the sun that the, entire team orbits around there. We had Jamal Murray after last night's game with a quote here. Nikola isn't just a big part of what we do. He's almost everything we do. So obviously Jamal Murray feels the same way as far as, Aaron, much of Nuggets Nation does as well. You just watch the game and you can see how big he is in terms of, he's the offense. He's not, even if he's not scoring, he's creating for others. And you mentioned the optimism with, it sounds like Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown have a chance to return on this road trip at some point. So should be getting some of that starting rotation back. How confident are you in Jamal Murray to be able to keep this team afloat? Now that he's the 1A, we've seen in, years past, not necessarily when Jokic goes down with injury, but when Jokic is on the bench, Jamal Murray can tend to struggle sometimes when the defense can really key in on him and lock in on him. And that's why I have a problem sometimes when, NBA Twitter, NBA people say, Jamal Murray is a top 15, top 20 player. It's like, hey, we'll pump the brakes a little bit. Let's see what he looks like when, he's the best player on a team and the defenses really get to focus on him. What's your confidence level in Jamal Murray over the next month?
Well, I'm not very confident because, I'm someone who likes to base my opinions off of things that I can draw from. I don't like going off gut feelings. I like drawing from substance. And that's a phrase I use a lot on our show, drawing from substance. And I can't here. I can't because of the example that you have just cited. We've seen Jamal stagger, with the non-starters, and he is not an elevator. He is a really good 1B to someone like Nikola Jokic. We saw it with Team Canada. I mean, he couldn't create separation from non-NBA players without that big old polar bear Nikola Jokic screen. And look, he has the only existence in the NBA that Jamal Murray has understood is playing with Nikola Jokic. There is no other frame of reference going back to Kentucky. Think about that. And it's not just with Jamal; it's these other guys who, over the years, have really been baptized in Jokic basketball. Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown, that's all he knows as well. So, like, you're having to replace this massive void of production, okay? Points, rebounds, assists, one of the best in the NBA in all three categories. But also underneath that umbrella, you're going to have a collection of guys when they do get back healthy, which is not currently the case, but when they do, who are going to have to rediscover how to play the game of basketball without Jokic, which is like trying to rearrange your childhood routine without your mom. I mean, it's like that's the whole deal there. So it's going to be challenging, but the challenges are on multiple fronts. It's replacing the production. It's waiting for the team to get some semblance of health back. And then when you do, it's rediscovering, or not rediscovering, take out the it's discovering how to play the game of basketball without Nikola Jokic. And then the last layer is do it at a high enough level to beat other NBA teams in the meantime. I mean, this is a real challenge.
Yeah, they certainly have their work cut out for them. I'll let you go, Zach. I appreciate you for hopping on and breaking down all things Nuggets with me. And we will go ahead and hit the turn here, presented by the Birdie Bar, Louisville's premier indoor golf bar and entertainment space. Check out their heated patio and miniature golf course to cure your winter blues. Real quick, just want to finish up on some Nuggets thoughts here before we turn over to the Broncos. Zach there mentioned it about how big of a challenge it'll be here for Jamal Murray. I also want to echo that for David Adelman, rookie head coach, first-time head coach here, and he's going to have to really navigate these waters without, Nikola Jokic, who can be kind of a pseudo coach on the court there. Now it's going to be a lot of reserves, a lot of guys that have never really had to play in the NBA, like Zach mentioned there, without Nikola Jokic, and that's a very different version of basketball that we might see from the Nuggets over the next month or so. On the brighter side with the Nuggets, no Spurs, no Thunder during the month of January. So at least the two teams they're looking up at will not be on their schedule. Will not be able to, head to head take advantage of that. But yeah, certainly will be a exciting, interesting, maybe is a better word for it, time for the Nuggets over the next month to really see what they have, and maybe they come out stronger on the back end of it due to these injuries and people having to step up. So we will be obviously monitoring that very closely for the Nuggets as we go forward. And now we'll go ahead and shift gears to the Broncos. I am a believer in the Broncos this year, 2025, into the 2026 postseason here. That's about to flip the calendar. But I've been under the understanding that, this is the year to go for it if you're the Broncos. They obviously have a great opportunity to go out and clinch the number 1 seed on Sunday. If they go out and beat the Chargers, that would, secure them a bye, secure them home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They've been so good at Mile High, Empower Field at Mile High, outside of that Jacksonville game where things kind of got away from them. But for the most part, very good. And that home field advantage is real, especially for the Broncos. I'm not a huge believer in home field advantage in the NFL, but I think Denver, is one of those examples where it is a real step up for them and leg up on the opponent, as well as for their defense, who's been a strength of their team for, let's call it the first 75% of the season. They were a top, 3 unit. People were comparing them to the 2015 Bronco defense that obviously went on to win the Super Bowl, and that no-fly zone, just how good they were. So kind of taking a step back in the last month or so, but I really think that home field advantage could be great for them. And the reason why I say the time is now for the Broncos is, the NFL schedule, you don't know when they're going to be played, but you do know a majority of their opponents that they're going to face. We have a graphic here. Obviously they have their divisional games home and away. And already you can see that they do have, 1 extra away game, 9 away games, 8 home games next year. But on top of that, the home games, you're bringing teams in here like the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Bills, the Rams, the Seahawks, the AFC South winner, whether it's the Jags or Texans, both playing really good football. And then away, obviously, as well, Chiefs, Chargers, you tack on the Patriots, the 49ers, the Steelers or Ravens, depending on who wins that division, the Buccaneers or Panthers, depending on who wins that division. So much different look of a schedule for next year's 2026 Broncos. Will not be the path they had this year, where they're, facing Jake Browning and facing, Justin Fields, facing quarterbacks, Davis Mills of the world. So a lot bigger challenge next year, and you never really know what that's going to equate to. Maybe next year they go and win 10 games, but that's still, could be a great success, given how difficult their schedule is going to be. So, you're in this position now. You have the chance to go and lock the 1 seed up. I really think they need to go out and do that, and this could be their, window of winning a Super Bowl. You never really know how these windows work. We saw the Bengals, 4 or 5 years ago, go to the Super Bowl, dethrone the Chiefs in that AFC Championship, and they haven't really sniffed a Super Bowl since. That was their opportunity. Who knows what the future holds for Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, but it has not been, that ascension that you see a lot in other sports. So I think they really need to go out and take advantage of it. And, same with the Nuggets. The Nuggets obviously go and win the 23 NBA Finals and, lose in the second round the following year to the Timberwolves, lose in the second round the following year to the Thunder. And then this year, as obviously we covered in the whole first half of the show here, go out and lose Nikola Jokic for a month here. And who knows what that can mean for the playoff seeding? Who knows if it can be re-aggravated? Injuries sometimes can happen in multiples, especially once you are injured. You can, compensate with your other leg, whatever it may be. It's just, these long windows that you think you have sometimes, close a little quicker than you think. So I'm excited for the Broncos playoff run this year, but I really don't think we should be taking this Broncos team for granted. And we should be hyper focused on going out and winning a Super Bowl this year, especially in this season, 2025-2026, with a wide open NFL. The Chiefs obviously have been a dynasty the last 5 to 10 years. They're not going to be in the playoffs. Josh Allen, the Bills, they look like they're, not the same version of themselves that we've seen in the last 5 years. Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, they don't look like they're the same version of themselves. So great opportunity. They need to go out and seize it this season for them to, cement that legacy and, hopefully start this Bo Nix and Sean Payton era off the right way. But we'll be obviously looking for that and covering that here at Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. That'll do it for today's show. I appreciate everyone out there listening and joining in. I appreciate Zach By joining the show as well. We will be back with Richie Carney later this week. I appreciate you guys, and Happy New Year if I don't see you guys before then. I do what I love what I do. Second nature to put in the work.